Okay. Hello everyone to today's Orchestrator weekly call. The agenda for today is quite small actually. So we had a very slow week. Really not much to report. We have a new backport pull request for Ceph ADM open. We have a new way to easily add new tautology tests to Ceph ADM. I hope that's going to be used in the future. Thanks to Vasha who enabled that. I'm working on the etc ceph.conf, which seems to be an important feature to manage that file on the host. So Ceph ADM is really not rook in that regard, turns out. And that's all I have for Ceph ADM. And we don't really have much other on the list regarding the topics, except for drive group specifications.
Yeah, I think we've kind of resolved that over email last week, but just wanted to bring it up here for clarity. Yeah, as far as how we deal with drive groups in Rook. So the proposal, and I saw your PR, Sebastian. It looks like it's we'll follow this pattern as well, right? So a drive group comes with information about what hosts the drive groups apply to, and then also, of course, what devices on each node that need to be configured with OSDs. So Rook only has drive groups at the host level, and then select as far as which nodes are selected. We want to use the Kubernetes placement mechanisms like node affinity for driving that. So any node selection will be done with the Kubernetes placement. So drive groups can be translated into that placement when the Rook Ceph cluster custom resource is generated. And that will allow Rook to do the node selection and configure the OSDs. And then Rook will basically pass on the drive group spec for devices into Ceph volume. So the Ceph volume can create the OSDs based on the drive groups specs for devices. And yep, so you put a link there to the PR that you have as far as that translation to placement. And I don't know, any questions or I guess we're all on the same page about that.
My question is mainly, does it actually work that way? Or what do you need?
So I haven't looked very close at your PR. Blaine was looking at it more from the Rook side, but I took a glance at it and it looked like it was what we need. Just host information doesn't stay in the drive group spec; it goes in the placement part of the spec for Rook, and that looks like that's what you had, right?
So that's kind of a Kubernetes type placement specification with required during scheduling, ignored during execution, and stuff like that. And I just didn't know, what do you want to have? What do you which spec? Kind of placement spec do you actually want? Do you want some kind of pod affinity, or I was a bit unsure.
Sure. Well, if you don't specify any placement, we would just apply the that drive group spec to all nodes, so all nodes would get those devices configured if they're found. And then the placement you add would just cause Rook and Kubernetes to add a filter on what nodes those devices are configured on. So if you want to add a list of nodes, there's one type of placement for that. If you want to look for node labels, there's another placement spec for that. And yeah, just by using the Kubernetes placement spec, we get all the advantage of Kubernetes node selection mechanisms with that. So if you're translating those into the Kubernetes placement spec, I think we're good. I need to take a closer look at that PR as well. But yeah, I think we're in the right direction.
Okay, great.
Mm-hmm. And I'll follow up with Blaine as well to discuss.
There is actually another topic that we can discuss today, and that's what shall we do with vStart and the development environment? I don't know. Are we done with the drive group things? With the drive group topic? I think yes. So yes, right?
Yeah, that's good for me at least, unless there's other questions.
Okay. Development environment for Ceph with Ceph ADM. So we have three options available now, right? We have we have the option to use vStart minus Ceph ADM that will spawn a local cluster that's not deployed using containers, and then the ability to spawn new containers on any host. Then we have Ceph ADM Bootstrap. That's one that Jean-Miguel added a few days ago. That is a bit more related to a real cluster, but it mounts the source directory into the containers, enables quick development of the manager modules in a containerized environment. And then we have CStart. That's more like a real cluster, but it's painful because we have to build images. And I don't have a clear answer where we are heading towards.
So I think they all serve different purposes, which is bad. But so I did this this patch because I use vStart mainly for Ceph ADM development, and that's completely fine. So the workflow for this works pretty good. So I spin up a vStart cluster, and then I remove my local host from being a Ceph ADM member, and then I add my two VMs. So the VMs that I spawn, the containers that I spawn are spawned inside a VM. Fine, it can be cleaned up. I can use snapshots to reset everything and stuff. And if I do code changes, the manager will only run on my local machine, so it will immediately pick up the code changes that I do on my local machine, which is also fine. That, however, doesn't work very good if you want to change binaries or containers that are running into binaries in your VM. If you want to, for example, change the Ceph OSD code or something. For that, we would need to rebuild the containers. So I think there is no end-all be-all solution. At least not yet. And I think all the tools have their limitations.
Mm-hmm.
So the patch that you linked in the Etherpad is basically just, so I always did two commands. One is starting the vStart cluster, and then basically removing my local host from the list of hosts, and that's just now possible in one command and a bit more generic. And I think this is the workflow that other people also do, I assume. Which is very limited.
I think Volker uses a very similar workflow. I don't know, Jean-Miguel, what do you use right now? Do you use your Bootstrap way of deploying Ceph ADM?
I've been using Bootstrap on some VMs, and I've been doing it so far.
Zimiga, you're muted.
Can't hear you.
Sorry. Okay.
That's better.
Well, I am using two separate things in order to set up my environment. Okay, I am using it's a tool that is developed by one colleague here in Red Hat, and the name is KCLI. I'm going to put CLI. Okay, and basically, well, it's a tool that allows you to create clusters or virtual machines in different environments. One of the environments is KVM, okay? And it's very easy to set up a cluster of virtual machines using your preferences, okay? In fact, I have prepared a KCLA plan that allows you to create a cluster with n machines prepared to be used with FADM. This plus the modification that I did in the Bootstrap command in order to share folders allows you to create a cluster and to add new daemons in any of the machines using the code that you have in the orchestrator. And this is everything is done in just one command. Okay, I can share. Yeah. Very easy to use. Yes, basically is to download the container that is running KCLI, and then with just one command you can use one of the plans that are stored in that folder in the repository, and with that you configure the cluster, the virtual machine cluster. And with the Bootstrap cluster script, you basically you configure each of the virtual machines in order to use the FADM. And with the Bootstrap command, you can share all the orchestrator folders in all the daemons. So you do not need to rebuild anything if you are working only in the Python side of the cluster. I wanted to write something more, to explain all my development environment, but not too much time in the last 2 weeks with the modification that I'm doing now. Okay, but I think that it's very easy to make modifications with this. I can make a demo if you want, if people is interested.
Does it? How does it relate to CStart?
Nothing to do with CStart.
I mean, what's the point of using CStart when we have the KCLI thing?
And why do you want to use CStart?
I don't.
Okay.
I don't.
With this method, you can avoid completely to use CStart, VStart, any kind of these tools, because what you are going to have basically is a cluster that is very near to a production cluster, and the trick here is that in all the daemons that you are using, the development folders are mapped to your host.
Interesting.
I can make a demo if you want.
I don't know. Maybe you can make a pull request in the docs document in the development documentation that we have for Ceph ADM.
Okay, explaining how it works. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Sure.
Yeah, it looks very promising on me. I think the thing I liked about the C-start approach and your approach with the dashboard was that there was a way to allow you to change other parts of Ceph as well.
Yeah.
And without having to rebuild the container image. I think that could be easily added to this approach though with VMs and get both a easy development and as close as you can, as to a production setup as you can, which sounds like the best of both worlds to me.
Yes. Yes. In fact, well, I used part of the mapped shared folders that you use in the C-start tool, I think. So, well, I think that we have room for improvement, but I think that it's promising because basically it allows you to have a complete environment system working system in just 3-4 minutes. Okay, if just the part that takes more time is to download the Ceph image container. And this is all.
Sounds a bit like Vagrant.
Yeah.
To me. Okay. Anything else regarding the development environment topic? I don't think that we're going to come to a conclusion here. I think we're see how it goes.
Got some good directions to go though, and I think once we have this kind of written up more, we can maybe try to get our Ceph developer community to start trying to use it as well. I think that's maybe where like C-start came from, at the perspective of developers who are usually developing on a single host using the vstart script, which is relatively fast to start that setup, but not really representative of a real environment.
Yep. That's a problem with vstart. Question is, KCLI really takes time to set up a cluster and setting up virtual machines and stuff like that. So I don't see KCLI a replacement for vstart.
And why is the main reason? Why do you think that?
Mainly because I can start a cluster in a manager plus monitor cluster in, I don't know, 10 seconds, and then I can verify the cluster. If I don't use a dashboard, if I don't start any OSDs, then a vstart cluster without OSDs is really as fast as you can get.
Yes. Yes.
And I don't want to miss it.
Even once you have deployed the cluster, okay, with KCLI and using the KCLI plan that I have done, you can, for example, just bootstrap the cluster with one monitor and one manager if you want to do that, okay? And if you want to retry what is happening, the only thing that you need to do basically is to use again the Ceph ADM command in order to delete the cluster and create again the cluster. Or if you make modifications directly in the manager, for example, to check how is going to what is going to be the behavior of one command, for example, the only thing that you need to do is just to disable and re-enable the manager module. And this is you don't need to rebuild any virtual machine, you don't need to load again any Ceph image, container. The only thing that you are doing is using the Ceph code that is in the Ceph container image and the code that you have in your own folder.
Hmm. Yeah, I understand. Still, I don't think that we're going to come to a conclusion here as of right now. Any other topics for today? At least I don't have anything else.
Yeah, I had one more quick one. In a few weeks ago, we talked about the daily test run for Rook tests. And Juan Miguel, I'm trying to remember what the next step was there. We need to create, I think creating the pipeline was the main thing, right?
Yes.
Is that something you're still looking at, or?
No. Unfortunately, I haven't time to to do things in the Rook part. Okay. So yes, the next step is just to create a new pipeline in order to run the Ceph manager integration test in a daily basis. Okay, and to avoid to run this test in every pull request. But well, I have started. I put one Jenkins working in my machine, okay, and started with testing things, but not time in order to have a pull to provide or to generate a correct pull request, okay, for that. So sorry.
Okay. Yeah, I think there's no rush on it, and I'll talk to Adam about the CI as well when I get a chance next time. Okay.
Thanks.
Sounds good. And that's all on my side.
Okay. Anything else for today? Then that was quick. Enjoy. Yeah, Jean-Miguel, you're still muted. Oh, you're again muted.
Sorry again. Just one. Well, not. It's not important at this moment. In any case, if I think that it is worth, we can discuss next week. Sorry.
Okay. Awesome. Then enjoy the week and let's meet again next week.
Okay. Talk to you later.
Bye.
Bye.
See you.
Bye.